Hello, everyone. This is Cherie, and this is the 31-day horror movie challenge. Today's challenge is 24, your birth year movie. I chose V from 1967. A young priest is ordered to preside over the wake of a witch in a remote village. This was based on a story by Nikolai Gogol. It was written by Alexander Ptushko and the two directors, Konstantin Yershov and Georgy Kropotchev, and it stars Leonid Kuravyov and Natalia Varley. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce a lot of Russian stuff. Okay, so what works in this movie? I loved this movie. Okay, it was great scenery, not something I've seen very often. It's in the Soviet Union countryside. They keep referring to Cossacks, and I looked that up, and that is kind of the eastern region of Ukraine and southern region of Russia. It's the modern day, that's where that would be. And just the acting was great, the music was great, the sound effects, the sets, everything. I loved it. And the story was like it was horror, but it was like fantasy horror, and it was like an old folk tale. And yeah, I loved it. Cinematography was great. What doesn't work in the movie? There were a few times where you could tell there was like blue screen being used. Blue screen came before green screen, so I'm assuming that's what they used for those shots. And then there was like V itself is a conjured up monster, and it looked like something from the Star Trek TV series, kind of. So it's not like the modern films of today where it would be totally realistic and scary. Regardless, it was great. I loved it. What can you learn about your birth year? Well, based on this movie, not much, because it's set in a different country and at a different time period. Now, that's another thing. I didn't really know what time period we were dealing with. They rode around on horses and buggies, and when I was born, there were cars. Do fashions and hairstyles match photos of family relatives from your birth year? Yeah, again, this doesn't apply. Now, if we were supposed to watch a film that took place in one's birth year, that's different. I was reading this title as a film that came out in my birth year. And when stuff comes out, it's not going to necessarily be set in the present. How would this movie change if made today? Okay, well, I heard that there was a, 2007 version of V. Although, I think this would be considered one of those folk horror subgenres, and they would probably give it the same kind of treatment as The Witch. It would take place back in the old days. It's very much based around superstitions and living it off the land, and there's not a lot of communication, and you can't get to places very easily. And it's, very religious in the old-fashioned sense. And yeah, so I don't know if there would actually be a good modern-day interpretation of this, because it's just so perfect the way it is. Okay, that's it for the book. But I just wanted to say, I saw this on YouTube. There's a channel called Mosfilm, and that has all the old Soviet Russian movies, and there's some really good stuff on there. You can have good art from a country even if you don't agree with that country's politics. So I'd say definitely check out Mosfilm on YouTube. And it's a short movie. It was an hour and 17 minutes, something like that. So if this is your first foray into Russian cinema or folk horror or witches or whatever, just go for it. It's a great film, V. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.